sorry about last week. I don't know. I had that manic thing that was going on for a little while, and then I was like, okay, I'm scouring the house. So the house is really clean. I don't know why. I do that every now and again. I don't know if you guys do it too, where you're like, I don't know, the house is clean, but now you have to do a deep clean to make you feel good about it. So, really. So today we are going to be reviewing Melted Strawberry from Twisted 14. I've smoked quite a few of the Twisted 14 strains. I have liked them. You get, I believe this is 3/4 of a ounce per pre-roll, and then you get 14 pre-rolls per pack. Oh, she has kind of a grassy, I don't know, dank smell to it. I don't know. Come on. Yay! I think I am up and running. So I decided to do these. I think I did one a few months ago because I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. I actually picked these up on one of the deal days, so I didn't pay the $30 that it does say on the container, as you can see. But still worth a review. I also asked ChatGPT a question, and we're going to go over that today instead of, the normal news. Because I think this is kind of interesting. So, let's do this. I'm going to pull on right now. So, let's see. I have 2, 4, 6, 8 little pre-rolls left out of 14. Sometimes they really pack these things. That has a really good flavor. Hi, Taker. Did I make that noise? I'm sorry. The minute I went, he's like, Mom, I'm right here. Alrighty, so let's talk about it. Melted Strawberry. This one comes as a 14 pack. Her THC level is an amazing 24 to 32% THC level. Now, does that mean you're going to get super high with this? Maybe, kinda, depending on how much you use and how experienced of a user you are. So I like to see these numbers, but don't always look at those numbers as a definitive of how good the weed is. And the reason why I say that is because there are several top shelf strains that may only be 15 to 20%. And that's okay because it works. Sorry, Tigger's like moving around on the couch. Brat. So that's what I kind of look at with that. This is a 50-50 hybrid. It does not lean in one particular direction or the other. It leans directly at 50-50, which is amazing and hard to find sometimes. You'll see where a strain does hit over that 50%, or even if it hits, a 10% THC rating, because there's another level, I guess, to this. You may get higher, you may not. It may make you cough a lot more, it may not. It depends. I know that when I smoke it, I don't really smoke with flower. Or, I'm sorry, I don't really cough with flower. I don't really smoke flower most of the time anyway, but I don't really cough with flower per se. So, but my husband does. I mean, he hacks it up. And I'm like, ow, it's not that bad. So she got really good taste on her. She comes from GMO and strawberry guava. Her flavors are berry, fruity, herbal, sage, spicy, strawberry, and sweet. I can't do all those S words right next to each other. Her effects are body high, calming, euphoria, happy, relaxing, and uplifted. Medicinally to treat chronic pain, cramps, depression, muscle spasms, PTSD, stress, and anxiety. This strain is more known for its anxiety. So if you have a lot of anxiety with strains, there's a couple levels that you would do to kind of help that along the way a little bit. Let's say you're a new user. A lot of new users get anxiety with their first couple of smokes. And the reason being is because cannabis has always been illegal up until the last, 10 years? So now that we're bringing it into the legal realm of it, now you're going to be kind of skittish. We were taught for so many years that cannabis is bad. Cannabis is a gateway drug. Cannabis is this. Cannabis is that. And cannabis is not. Cannabis was used in our medicines from the beginning of time up until 75 years ago, and then they pull it off the the medicinal list, I guess, and then they say there's no medicinal quality to it whatsoever. But there's actually quite a bit of my brain just does not work. There's quite a bit of health issues that cannabis helps with to say that it has no medicinal uses. I had cancer 4 times. I went through treatment 3 times with chemo, radiation, whatever. I went through that 3 times. The 4th time that I found out I had it, I came home and I told my husband, I'm like, I'm done. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that again. If I die, I die. But I'm not doing that again. And that's where we found other avenues that you could use. I found Rick Simpson oil. I actually talked to him at one point in time, and he gave me instructions to use to get rid of the cancer, and it worked. I know they don't like saying, oh, it cured my cancer. They hate saying that, but I didn't do those traditional treatments. I did something completely different. And I've known a lot of people that have too. I've talked to people that have had tumors in their head reduced in size because of RSO oil. I have had chronic pain people that can't leave their house that are finally like, I can move. You have obviously cancer patients, you have anxieties, you have eating disorders. There are so many things that cannabis helps with. And that's what I'm here to try to do, is to get that information out to the public so that it isn't so scary for the people that don't understand cannabis. And I was one of those people for a while. My dad, he was busted with 100 pounds of marijuana. I was 3, so it would have been in 77. And he went to jail for it, him and his girlfriend. He is very afraid, or he was after that very afraid of cannabis, because he did a lot of time with it. He finally got his voting rights back, and then he ended up with cancer himself. He never used cannabis that I know of. I wish he would have, but I know that when I did talk to him about some of those things, he was like, not doing it. Because there were so many different feelings inside him for that. His jail time wasn't a good experience. It started out with a horrible, you know, great father that I had. He left me in the home for 3 days, didn't tell the police that I was there. I was 3. And so there's a lot of anxiety and emotion that comes along with cannabis for him. So I understood why he didn't want to do anything with it. It made sense. However, I wish he would have tried it. I do. I wish he would have done it just to see. It helps so many different things. It helps you be able to handle the chemo treatments. Chemo treatments are sucky. They're hard on the body. You throw up. You lose so much weight. Your hair is gone. You look half dead. You feel dead. And cannabis can help give some of that back. It can help give you the appetite and less nausea. It can give you great sleep. That was the biggest thing that I read throughout all of this, is people that are suffering from cancer, during their treatment, they need to get as much sleep as possible, because that's when the body is going to mend itself. So for the first 2 weeks of RSO oil, I slept. That's all I did. My husband would come in the morning and he'd give me my morning dose. And then when he got home from work, he'd give me my afternoon dose. And then before I went to bed, he gave me my nighttime dose. And I literally pretty much slept for 2 weeks. It was amazing. I got up. I felt so much better. I sat down and I actually ate all of my dinner that night. For one time, I have not finished a meal in years. So it did help. It helped a lot. So even if you don't want to say cancer can be cured with RSO oil, you can at least say it takes the suffering down a lot. It gives patients their life at least a little bit back to where they're not miserable, kind of, you know? So, that being said, she has sweet and fruity strawberries, accented by tongue-tingling, pungent, dank, and spicy herbs. She will hit you right after your first exhale, rushing through your mind with a heady buzz. The heady state can quickly turn psychedelic, so mind your dosage if you have any type of anxiety. A calming body high will settle over your physical form, walking you to the couch while your mind soars higher and higher. This bud has long tapered forest green nugs with lots of yellow-orange hairs, golden undertones, and frosted coating golden white crystal trichromes. And they are beautiful. They're beautiful. I don't have this ready to use today or right now, but I have a microscope that I can blow things up on, and I can show you a little bit better, and you can see those trichomes. No, I'm looking to see if I have it all. I might have it all plugged in actually. No, I don't. Tomorrow's review, I'll have that up and going. The reason why we got that is not for the reviews or the lead or any of that. We got it because we've been amateur gold mining, and we have so much black dirt or black sand in with blonde sand and gold, and getting them separated has been a bitch and a half. So we're going to try this and see if it works. And I'll make a video for you guys to see sometime, because it is interesting. It's kind of funny. You know, that's how it works. Alrighty. So, today, I'm going to go ahead and read it offline, because there's no way to write it all down. So, I asked about weed news and how things were going. And so it just kind of gave it to me in a bullet format. So that's what we're going to do. Federal and state marijuana policies are evolving rapidly. The Drug Enforcement Administration, or the DEA, is currently conducting administrative hearings to review the reclassification of cannabis to a Schedule III substance following actions by Trump's administration to ease federal research and regulatory restrictions on state licensed medical programs. Stay updated with the latest industry shifts and policy developments across the following key areas. Federal legislative updates. Federal rescheduling. The Department of Justice, or the DOJ, and DEA held hearings evaluating broader changes to the marijuana Schedule 1 status, expanding long-term classification for researchers and maintaining patient access. State stalemates, despite popular support, and Governor Josh Shapiro pushed Pennsylvania legislators omitting adult use marijuana legislation from their finalized budget deal, maintaining the status quo. Hemp and CBD. Federal and state lawmakers are pushing Congress to regulate and restrict certain hemp-derived cannabinoids, creating an existential crisis for THC beverage and product manufacturers in several states. Now that one's interesting because we have a lot of alcohol companies that are trying to bring the THC into their business because they've noticed that with the younger kids today, they're not drinking as much. They're doing more cannabis, beverages, desserts. They're doing that kind of a thing instead of alcohol. And most of them are saying that they're going to stay that way because they don't get the hangover, basically. So, which I get. I hate the hangover. I don't smoke it, or I don't drink at all anymore because of that. I have migraines and whoo, So, cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome, or CHS. Medical professionals are not an increase in emergency room visits related to heavy, frequent cannabis consumption. Experts emphasize that prolonged usage can cause abdominal pain and severe nausea. That is true, but there's usually other underlying things that are going on that you have to deal with, and that's kind of the first thing. And I went to the doctor, I want to say about a year ago. I went to a dermatologist, and my arms were bad. They were bruised, they had this, they were cut, most of the time they were bleeding. And I'm like, okay, I have eczema, but I haven't suffered from eczema since I was a kid. I'm 52 years old, what the fuck? And they're like, no, it's eczema. And I'm like, okay, I haven't changed anything. Why am I having this problem? And I've gone through everything. I didn't change anything. I'm like, maybe I need to do some type of a cleanse or something. And she's like, oh no, that doesn't work. I'm like, So I kind of started doing a little bit of research on that because a lot of things can cause this cannabinoid, that CHS. Some of the things that you can do if you do have that is smaller amounts of cannabis at one time. If you start feeling nauseous and having a problem, A, seek medical attention. B, try a shower, a nice warm shower. I have heard from many patients that have come forward with this. It says, if I just jumped into the shower for 5 minutes, I was fine after that. A lot of these types of, I'm going to say this wrong, conditions are because of other things. That's the problem with Big Pharma, is Big Pharma is treating you for this, but the medication is actually for this. So it makes it really hard to do that. Another thing is try a different strain, try a different type. So if you're smoking it, which is normally what comes from the CHP, if you're smoking it, move to an edible for a little while. See how that works for you. Keep either a pre-roll or something of CBD, pure CBD, and smoke that if you start feeling yucky. That will help. Not all the time, but it will help. These are all things that you can try to see if you get any help from it. And the last thing is just a really weird thing. Sit down on the couch, put on the TV, put on a show or movie or whatever that you like, and calm down. Because a lot of times we start getting anxious, and that anxiety hits to the rest of us, and that's what's going on. Again, this could be, I have heard of people with CHS. I have personally never seen it or never known anybody with it, so I don't have a lot of experience with it. Just letting you know. Research and access, with cannabis being recognized for its medical utility at the federal level, scientists note that easing restrictions will open the floodgates for rigorous medical trials treating chronic conditions. Again, when we decided that we wanted cannabis, we decided at that time we did not want big pharma involved with our cannabis, period. And I hope that we're keeping it that way. I don't trust big pharma with this. They have been trying to make a synthetic weed for a very long time. It does not work. It actually makes people go a little batty. I mean, they go nuts. I don't know what it is. It's not, you do not want lab grown or lab manipulated cannabis. It is not worth it. And then business, market, and insights. Institutional capital. The easing of restrictions has allowed large companies to successfully uplist the major financial exchanges, while federal trafficking cases continue to decline. Union victories. Employees at a commercial marijuana business such as in Missouri are successfully organizing and ratifying union contracts, securing higher pay and benefits. I like that. That's good. And then local taxes and seizures. States have generated over $28 billion in recreational tax revenue over the last few years, even as mature legal markets face competition from illicit operation and tightening overall profits. I'll get it one of these days. So there's a lot of things that are going good with cannabis. There's a lot of testing going on. I'm hoping that they're building a regulatory system for it, so that way, if and when we can get it completely federally legalized, that's what can take over, instead of, okay, now it's federally legalized, now we've got to make that foundation. We need to just make the foundation to begin with. That is very important, in my opinion. Regulations are going to make it to, and don't get me wrong, I like regulations, but regulations are going to keep the weed clean. Regulations are going to make dispensaries and growers accountable, because now they're having to test these products for carcinogens, for all of these things, because the biggest problem with cancer is that it comes from carcinogens. So if you've got 20,000 carcinogens in, your weed, now you're 20,000 chances more likely of getting something. So I mean, it's a deal. It needs to be balanced a little bit better. It needs to be regulated so it stays clean, accessible, and out of big pharma's hands. And that's how I feel about it. Alrighty. My dad was actually, he was funny because he's like, I can't believe you're doing it. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I was deathly against weed. I was. I grew up with a mom that had addiction issues, we should say. And so cannabis to me was scary, because I watched my mom use coke, I watched my mom use these other things, and I'm like, I ain't going anywhere near that shit. And then I watched my brother get involved in it, and then was like, yeah, And then I got cancer for the fourth time, and everything went out the window. I started doing my research, I started doing everything that I needed to do to find out, was cannabis really going to help me? And it did. And so that's what I'm trying to tell all of you guys. It makes a difference. It helps. If you have a family member that is going through these kinds of treatments, let them know. Share the information with them. It is definitely worth it, to be honest with you. Even if it doesn't work, at least you will get some of those medicinal benefits out of it. But that's it for today. Don't forget to hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and yeah, let's start making some changes. Let's free the weed. Mad love, guys. As always, here comes Tigger. Come on. You know you want it. Come on. Oh, get up here. Come on. Oh. Oh, look, they can see it right there. They gotcha. Mad love, guys. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.